We're officially live. Hello, everyone. Just wait to see a viewer count pop up. 29 viewers. Oh my gosh.
Wow,
Hello.
there's a lot of people here.
Sorry to keep you all waiting. But we are very excited to be joined by Corey Circelli. Well, first of all, is it Circelli or Circelli? Because we've
It
been
depends
saying
on
different
where you're
ones.
from. I would say like where like our family is from and where like the name like originated, they'll actually use two cheese, Circelli. In Canada, we tend to say Circelli, but honestly, my favorite's Tracy because every time I speak to her, it's different. She'll add something into it. And I'm like, I still feel so exotic. Like, tell me more.
Well, thank you so much for joining us to recap Grand Prix of Espoo. Russell in the chat already saying hi. Hi, Russell. Welcome
Hello.
back. Amy also here. It's nice to see some familiar faces. So what were your overall thoughts with the event and the how everything was?
You know, I think like as an overall, I think we're starting to see like a lot of pressure with those top groups for those final positions, which kind of weren't there at the beginning of the year. But now because it's approaching everyone's second assignment, you're starting to see some like cracks in the nerves a little bit, which is like totally normal for this part. Like finals a really big deal. So it was interesting to see like those top groups. I was interested with some of the up and coming skaters. I loved those. There's a lot of juniors I find that were like new to like the senior rank, especially in the dance event, that I thought were really interesting to kind of see. I think the women looked really nervous at this event. They looked really like a bit on eggshells, which, like I said, is expected. But there were some shining moments. I mean, the men's event, I feel like this season has just been the event to watch. Like it's become like this like golden age, and I've been loving watching it.
Yeah, it was fun at this event. There was a lot of skaters that were people assigned last minute and all of that too. But I felt like there were a lot of skaters that you don't always get to see on the Grand Prix, but that have like strong personalities and are just kind of fun to have in the mix. I feel like especially
Absolutely.
that first group of men, I was like, oh, these are all of the people that I like always am like, oh, I wonder what they're going to do this year.
Yeah.
Super interesting. Maybe don't have
I think it was really like commendable, the idea that even and why am I blanking? I'm
Nikita.
a fan of his skating. Nikita, they found out the day before they left, and I'm like, that's incredible. Luckily, they were at least entered into a competition the same week, so they were prepared. Just have to change the flight location. I have to say though, I was a little personally disappointed for Mark Gornitsky, as he has the highest Grand Prix, or even in general, season's best, and that's typically how the events are selected. You go into a pool of season's best scores, and there's like a group of like 5 or 6 or 7, or how that works, and then the country selects one of those people. That's like how like Wesley Chu and Steven Gogolev, but in this situation, Mark had higher season's best than both of them, and then he like knocked it right out of the park in Poland, and I was like, that was like amazing. I would have loved for him to have gotten the second event. I think it would have been really well deserved.
Yeah.
I think we'll start off straight away with the pairs event.
Ooh.
Yeah, so our pairs podium was gold in their first Grand Prix for Minerva Fabian Haase and Nikita Volodin. Silver for Sara Conti and Nicolo Macci, and bronze for Maria Pavlova and Alexei Sviatchenko. And it was, this felt like a kind of a rough pairs event in some ways. They're especially the free skate, lots of failed lifts, lots of scary falls. I don't know what that was. It felt like the bad luck was going from one team to another, but it was not the world's best pairs event to watch. That's I think it's definitely very well deserved for the German team. They're looking so strong, and so it's between them, and I also really love Peng and Wang, and I was sorry to see them not make it, but it's cool to see these teams that are, newly coming together be
for sure
strong.
I think it's really interesting to see Germany kind of solidify themselves as like a very strong pair nation. I don't think anyone predicted that, like after Aliona retired, because there wasn't like a whole lot. And now it's like, wait, they have two very top teams. So it's very exciting to see. I love Sarah and Nicolo so much. They're such amazing people and they work so hard. But it's one of those things where I just want to hug them and then like hit them in the face and be like, you are so in this. Like you have this world gold medal. Like just be smart. Like they just need someone to tell them that they need to train every day like they're world champions. Because it looks like they just had this crack of confidence. And it makes no sense to me because they are so in this game. And nobody's going to care about how the Grand Prix Helsinki went. They're going to the final. They have an amazing final. They have an amazing Euros. Like, don't worry about it. But it's one of those where it's like, you are so in this. Like, you just want to shake them and be like, you are so good. Don't, like, it looks like they seem a little, like, defeated.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they had such like a quick rise to the top, like as so many people didn't have them on their radar last year, and they came sort of out of nowhere to take that number one Italian spot, and they just don't quite seem prepared to be the ones being chased rather than the ones chasing.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a very clear point. I would like to see them kind of shake up the material a little bit, like maybe like for Euros we do a new short. Like, I'm just going to, like, throw that out there. Like, maybe we do something, like, spicy. Like, I don't know, just a little, like, fiery. They can do it. They just need to get their heads down and get to work and really, like, figure it out. I think it's numbers. I think it's going to come with a lot of numbers. And I wonder if something's going on, like, that's prohibiting with them, because they were really rock solid with their jumps last season.
Yeah, and I think
it's been
Sarah
a bit
had
all over the place.
Injury in the off season, so I think that's why
Perhaps,
things are a little bit unstable. But
they said,
and I have a funny. Maria, who came third. I have a funny little anecdote of her. She used to skate at the cricket club when she was a young little girl from Russia, and we would call her Masha, and then we would nickname her mashed potatoes because I think the young kids, we were like 10. We were 10. We didn't know. We were like, Masha, that sounds so fascinating. And she was like this little girl, and we were always like, one day and she skates like Flight of the Bumblebee or something like that. And she was like so talented, and we we're like, you're destined for pairs. And then last year she came like fifth or sixth at the World Championships, and we were all like, she is destined for this. Like, it was meant to be. So it's so exciting to see her like on these podiums. I'm like, I remember her as this like little girl skating some Bumblebee, but
yeah, that team is really so talented. And I can see a lot of people commenting on the material for Sarah, Nick, and Lo in the chat too. But there's a lot of both their short and their free are very similar styles, and I think especially repeating the free, it's hard to have the same impact this year that it had last year. And so I kind of like that idea though of like, if they came back at Europeans with a new program and had that energy and confidence that they could just sort of like shake it off. But they were saying that they just started seeing, like, I think maybe even between their first and second Grand Prix, like started talking to a sports psychologist because a lot of it was mental. And
that's kind of what like made me think something is wrong. Like, someone isn't telling them how good they are every day. Like, cause I'm like, they need to literally be told that you can win a world championship this year. Like, every day. Like, it should literally be posted on the boards. And they should, like, you should treat every day like I am the gold medalist. But in a different note of pair gold medalists, did anyone see the Georgians in Warsaw? Because they seem like a surprise potential gold medalist. And I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just snag this world championship.
Yeah,
like,
it wouldn't be
the type of
surprising.
people that are told that you can do this, you can win, you can do it, and they just have their heads down and they're just working.
Yeah, they were a little bit green when they were on the Junior Grand Prix. There was still a little bit, few issues they had to sort out, but they seem to have become a lot more solid since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Europeans. There's a good chance that they'll. I mean, that's the thing. We'll have to see how they shake out against the Italians and the Germans. But it seems like they have a very good shot at Europeans. I don't.
Yeah.
They still seem like they haven't quite gelled together.
For sure.
Material.
No, they're very new, but I was just very impressed with how consistent they're able to perform. And I noticed a couple people were questioning their choice of the Junior Grand Prix, and like I feel like I could like enlighten that decision, because when I saw that I was like, I completely understand. They have no world ranking, so they cannot be invited to Senior Grand Prix. They start at 0. So their options were to do their 2 challengers and Senior Bs, which they're doing, or they could do their 2 challengers, Senior Bs, and also win the Junior Grand Prix final and get their name out there a little bit more, get a little bit more prize money, build their ranking. So then by the time they get to Worlds, there's a chance they could even start in the final flight. So to me, it was like, I understand that it's like they're very not junior, but they're just playing, they're playing the game. And I don't think that everyone needs to be like, this is like everyone's best friend's race. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's interesting.
I'm still a bit confused how they didn't qualify for the split couple rule though, for the Grand Prix.
I know.
Because he and
there's something confusing
Safina
about that.
had like a top 4 place in 2022, so they probably should have qualified for that.
You would think.
I don't know why they didn't.
Yeah. I saw Melissa in the chat was talking about the lift from Hassan-Vuladin where Minerva's almost straight up in the air. And I actually paused that and watched it in slow motion because I've been obsessed with this since I saw them at Lombardia. And I tried to, when we had Megan Duhamel on, I was trying to ask her about it, but because I couldn't remember what lift it was, we ended up on a whole side about reverse lift, which is not. This is a group 3 lift, but it's group 3, like reaching through her legs. It's like very awkward if you pause and look at it.
There's a gray zone, I find. It's quite wild to look at, that's for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm very, very impressed with the quality of their twist and their lifts, and everything is looking so strong right now. I find both of their programs really boring, and that they're like, I don't get a lot of like emotion or anything from them.
Yeah.
So they're a little all one note to me, like very almost in that way of like what I feel like people used to criticize Tarasov and Morozov for, like being very, very good but a little cold. Like I wish I was getting more of that from them, but it's also like I'm also trying to not be too harsh, given that this is literally their first season together, that they don't have to be good at everything.
Yeah. I guess they're up against some very big personalities. So it probably shows a bit more too.
That's true. And especially comparing them to the other German team where Annika is an expressive, but
sunshine.
And I think like Annika trains with the Italians, right?
Yes.
So she probably like, because Lucrezia is also very expressive. And that whole pair school. And Philo and Rebecca are also very expressive. So I think it's just probably like that combine training.
Yeah, that makes sense. The other thing that I wanted to say about pairs, I was just looking at my notes, was that I was really sorry to see such a rough going here from Ellie and Danny, and that I was glad that they're able to, had a much better short program, were able to come back, but I am hopeful that by the time we see them at U.S. Nationals, they'll be.
I was confused to the extent, and I don't mean to like question her, but the extent of said concussion.
Yeah.
Because how is it like 1 week?
It's like 2 weeks since France. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would have been less than that since in preparation time. It's very.
So it either feels like maybe this should have been a missed event, or. Like, I was just confused when she was like, it was a concussion. Then I was like, okay, like,
Right.
Like something about that just felt like not smart to be here. You know what I mean?
And at the very least, I would have said to reduce content. I don't know why you were still doing triple throws when you can't land them.
Yeah. So it's just like a confusion to me. But they could be very good. I just like they're also someone that I would love to see like start at national.
Yeah.
Like I would have loved to see them show up at their US championships. Because I think a lot of people take advantage of the fact that the pair world is kind of like everyone can get an event. Like it's quite less deep of fields.
Yeah.
But like there is always next season. So it might not be the worst idea to like work and get like stronger.
I feel like in the US pairs field, there was this sense this year that without Alexa and Brandon, and then especially while Emily and Spencer have been out with injury, that it was like, this is someone's year to like grab it and show that they're like the top team that's coming up. And so it's like everyone's been competing a lot. And Chelsea and Balish are probably the team that's been the most successful at growing that, but everyone's inconsistent. Everyone's, struggling with something or other right now. And so they're all competing a lot.
Yeah.
And considering there's going to be 2 new pairs at nationals who haven't been on the international circuit, there's going to be Efimova and Mitroganov and Parkman and McBeef.
Yeah.
Who aren't, I mean, they're both showing great domestic results, so who knows how they're going to finish in that.
Yeah, so that was kind of like a similar situation to like Ellie and I'm blanking. I would just like to have seen them also kind of be a bit more domestic until they're ready for the Grand Prix. Just because when people have so much potential, I feel like they love to run to the major events too quickly.
Yeah.
When there's no rush. No rush. Like just take your time, especially in a pair event. The more years, the better. More time.
I feel like that worked well for Leah and Trent last year. Was that
absolutely like they really took their time.
Yeah.
And they're very rock solid right now.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed watching this pairs event, this is my like random aesthetic complaint, but that I really think that just because you can do a really acrobatic entry or exit to your throw or your
oh my god,
should like. And this again, I'm blaming here. I'm thinking about both Sarah and Nicolo and Ellie and Danny. Both have these sort of like swingy through the legs or like side hold things that they feel very like swing dance kind of like. And if it was up music, it would feel great. But they're in these very like flowing things, and it's so distracting to me. And I keep thinking it's very impressive. I get that it's improving your. That it's an impressive transition, a difficult entry, but it really throws me out of it artistically.
For sure.
That's my one nitpick. But please don't do it just because you can do it on some of these difficult entries.
Yeah.
And I hope Brooke and Ben are doing all right after that.
Yes, what a scary fall.
Yeah,
He's very
luckily
lucky. Oh my god.
They got up very quickly, and it could have been a lot worse than it was, but I think they were quite thrown and shaken by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was early in the program, and they did so well through the rest of the program.
Didn't they have a throw to do right after it too? Like she would have nerves of steel. I probably would have just done a nice big single.
Yeah. Wow.
A couple of people in chat commenting, Peng and Wang's skating skills were the best. I'm still very confused why they didn't attempt to do a combo jump in their free program. They just did 2 single jumping passes. Like, I don't get it, because I think that lost them.
I get that what was supposed to be that combo ended up like under-rotated, and maybe they didn't feel safe putting that on, but you could have literally just tacked a single on the double salto and you would have been third.
I have such an interesting, like, I don't know, like, I guess it's like a bone to pick with like the pairs and the jumps.
Yeah.
It's just feeling like if I were in a position of ISU, I would increase the values drastically for the pair world. Like a triplet should be worth 10 points. Because I think then you would start to see a more of an intention, because the reality is they're looking at it like they're doing a triple toe. It's 4.2. That's it. And in their grand scheme of elements, it's the lowest valued element in their program. So they're not putting the time, and they don't care to miss it. Like, that's what I feel watching. They don't care. And maybe this is just from the outside perspective, but not to bring up like other countries, but there are countries that are doing these, like, for example, the Japanese, there's like a domestic team that does like these gorgeous letzos, and it means something to me. And it's not just because it's difficult, but because it looks like they've put intention on jumping. And in a specific country that we may not be discussing, there's a team that does a triple flip, triple toe, double axel as their combination jump. And to me, that's very, very impressive. And it makes the event elevated, because it's hard to watch 30-year-old men fall on triple foul. It's hard. It's hard to feel like this is something. And that's not to say that what they're doing later is like not wow. Like when you see a gorgeous twist, it makes everything, or beautiful lift. But I just think that like the only way they're going to do this is because I understand that they don't want to do the quad throws because of danger. And that's why ISU isn't increasing the value. Although, whatever, like Megan Duhamel made a career on it. She's doing just fine. But like,
she makes a very persuasive case for how you can train it safely. I've had that conversation with her. Yeah.
But that also comes with her ability to jump and her awareness, her body awareness. She was able to do that, where a lot of these girls, like, that feels like an unfathomable possibility. But I think if they raise the values of the solo jumps, it would make for a much better event. That's just like my opinion.
That's super interesting. I have to think about that, because it's but one thing that I keep saying this in every episode, because I will eventually finish editing my interview with Andre Hotarek, and it will actually be published instead of me just saying from it each week. But one of the things that we talked about was just how important, even right now, he was saying, you know, the difference between the team that can do the combination with the sequence with the 2 double axels versus the teams that can't. That will, his take was that was what was going to decide like the world title here. It was all good. It's all going to come down to those jumps. And so even, but the standard with all of these teams, they're like, they're all struggling to get to consistency.
That's the first jump. So it's just like, it's alarming, but I think it comes down to the fact that it's their lowest valued element. And it's like, as a skater, we're going to get to the men. Kao Miura did a free skate of levels 1s and 2 spins. And that comes from the fact that it's the lowest valued element in the program. So why he is training, not putting the points and the time in the effort in those, which is understandable when you can open with a 17-point glorious quad jump. But to me, it's the same with the pair event, where it's like when they make it so drastically lower than everything else, which is the normal value. I just think it raises an interesting question of like going forward in the pair event, because it feels like it's been the conversation for years. Like, are they going to land the basic triple jump? You know, I don't know.
And it's super interesting because I saw Skating Scores posting wanting to take out the combination and just, you know, basically like admitting everyone's bad at it. It's not very fun to watch. Like, let's just take that's like going the complete opposite direction on, you know, on whether you try to push people and try to do more or not. But it's tough, because I think I also, all of my favorite pair teams are the teams that have at least one person, if not both, who really can't land their triples. And so I would have a hard time with that, because it would make it harder for some teams that I really like. But when it comes to the sport as a whole and pushing forward, I think your point that the values, a triple toe is not.
And I see like some people are mentioning combinations, and of course combinations add up, and like but I'm just like the basic element. like not so much like because they're not doing a combination in the short, and they're not doing a combination as one of the jumps in the free. Obviously, like when you throw 2 double axels on anything, it really goes up. But I just think like I don't know, or maybe a bonus. I don't know. Like I don't know how to figure it out.
Yeah, it does seem like they need something, and this goes back to my the point that a couple people have raised of shouldn't there be a pairs technical committee?
Yeah,
they get
that's a really good
with
idea.
singles, and it seems like it's very much an afterthought. There aren't people who are dedicated to pushing and thinking about the development of the pairs discipline, and it's always sort of it's the afterthought.
Absolutely. No, that's a really great point.
Should we
move on?
Yep. Move on to the
Okay,
men's
so
event.
the men, we have gold, we have Kamura, silver we have Shun Sato, and in bronze we have Kevin Amos.
This was the results for this ended up being very dramatic. We have a saying that the men are menning when you see the ordinals and it's like first place ends up in like 7th or something.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Jimmy Ma third ends up in 11th.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely an interesting event. I've mainly been looking back at Matteo Rizzo's oh my gosh, choreo sequence.
This is like my event to like break down. Oh my god.
Tell us
like
all of your
a million
thoughts.
and one thoughts. Well, if we're at Matteo, I think I agree with everything he said. And more. I stand by it all.
Yeah, he wasn't happy.
I've watched the choreo sequence. This choreo sequence in question. It's fine. I'm not saying it's the world's greatest choreo sequence ever. And I will tell that to his face. I'll probably text it to him now. But, like, I will. Like, I have no problems. But he has choreographic elements. It has a shape on the ice. And I won't say names, but there is Ilya Malinin, who does even less in their choreo sequence and gets, like, +5s and 4s and all, like, these crazy GOEs. Which isn't to say that that's like that's wrong, but I just felt like that was an aggressive call, especially because that could have been something that the tech panel could have told the federation, or a judge could have told the federation after day 1 of practice, be like, hey, we noticed this. This isn't like something drastic that doesn't happen. Like, believe it or not, it happens all the time at competitions where like the tech panel will be like, heads up, like, be careful about that. Like I think Brian was just telling me that Katya Kurakova, I love her. She's like a sister of mine. She did a flip axel on her short program warm-up. Just because she wanted to do something on the flip. And the tech panel goes immediately to her and goes, or to Brian, you know that's not allowed. Like she can't do that. So it's like the tech panel does have these conversations. So I think like that would have been a conversation, be like, look at that, add something just so it counts. And I just felt that because it was going to be a question of like Kevin or Matteo, like that was like an aggressive call. And I disagree with the loop call as well.
Yeah.
In real time,
you
would not have reviewed it. You would not have reviewed it.
Yeah.
And if you did review it, you would have max queued it, because like I'm the biggest Kevin Amos fan. Like I will literally watch him file his taxes. Like I don't care what he's doing. I will watch it. But that axle sound was under rotated and like everyone saw it. And especially like when they slow-moed it, but it wasn't more under rotated than like the loop in question. But it's like, I just felt like really blatant how we can't, like, why are we not calling both of them? Like if you're going to call it, call it.
Right.
So to me, it just felt like a little bit, I don't know. And to me, like Matteo's program, because it was skating so clean, had more of an impact. I felt like it was a little held back in components. I just thought like that deserves way bigger. I would have gone way bigger.
It was such a moment. I mean, and that's
beautiful.
That's the intangible parts of it, but it just yeah. And I have like, I feel like after Europeans last year and Denis Vasilyev's getting his choreo sequence invalidated, I feel like this was giving me such flashbacks. Happened in the same rink. It was not the same tech pad.
Yeah.
But
it just feels like a little bit, and this isn't to like call people out because it's like everyone has their own approach of the choreo sequence. To me, like skating with Jason, our world of choreo sequence is not what Matteo did. And I'll be the first to tell him that. But like, it's like, you need to look like Michelle Kwan out there. Like, get out in a spiral and you hold that spiral for half an hour. But I just think like there are people that are doing less and are getting it called.
And that's the thing that like it was when they first had the choreo sequence, it was just like, do something, do it was totally open, which I feel like it's kind of what it was supposed to be in terms of just like, here, be creative. If you're not very creative, we should give you low GOE. If you're really creative and wonderful, then we should give you more.
But no levels for it. So.
But then they got grumpy that people were only doing like one spread eagle. And so they're like, oh, we're going to have to give it criteria. But then the criteria are really vague. Like, it's not actually listed out. It's like skating movement.
It's like two elements of something that has some sort of shape.
And they list out some of the things that it could include.
Yeah.
So this is the thing that happened to Denis last time, was that he had this sort of like arabesque thing in it that they didn't count, as they were like, that's not a skating movement. And it's like, what do you mean it's not a skating movement? It is, but it wasn't one of the listed ones. And so they had to change it. And so anyway, I have a lot of feelings about this. My Twitter handle is choreo sequence.
I listen, it's literally our favorite element here. Yeah. Like, watching the top do it, it's so many points. Talk about points. If you can do it perfectly, you're 5.5 points. That's like something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another issue I have, because it kind of goes into more of the judging of this event, that the French judge gives 9.5s to Kevin and then gives a 6 to both Sean and Cal. And I'm like, how are they a 6? How are they a 6? They may not be Kevin level, but they're not a 6.
Yeah.
It feels a little strange. Pointed. Yeah, I can agree with that. In Kevin's performances, like, I am obsessed with the Bolero free skate. I think it is going to be sensational. But, oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think he was given a gift in the short program. I think he was given a very kind gift, because there were no elements in that short program. And if you're following like components, you can't go that high if the program is covered in error, and it doesn't have the same impact. So to me, like, overall, it probably should have been a bit lower. And then if we were comparing free skate to free skate, it's pretty undeniable that Matteo's free skate was, to the naked eye, cleaner and stronger. So it was just like, it felt very interesting. And it's crazy because I am an enormous Kevin fan. And when Kevin skates clean, I'm like, Kevin at the World Championships last year, like, I cried, fully cried. Like, it was such a moment, and I'm like such a major fan. But at the same time, the final to me is the best performances on the Grand Prix circuit. Not like who's the best in the world or who is the best in the world last year. And it feels a little bit like we were trying to make some stuff happen. And that's like, whatever. But it was a shame, because we had an opportunity to kind of play it a little bit fairer. I don't know.
No, I totally agree. And I was sorry for Matteo, but I also think, I mean, he had 2 terrible short programs and 2 fantastic free skates. And so, for him, I actually really like his short program. I think it's super
interesting.
I like
very interesting.
expressions.
And the plank at the beginning, I'm like, oh my God, I'd never get up. I would just stay on the ice surface.
Yeah, so I'm hoping he can get it together with that short program, because I'd
like to see him play around with the loop in the short. I think
he's done
he
it
gets
before.
nervous on that toe.
Yeah,
I think he's done it before. I just think maybe
as the second element,
maybe the consistency. Maybe he just
left it out,
but do it first, because it can work at this point.
I think it just seems interesting, like, because he tends to pop quad loop to a triple, so it still has a value.
Yeah.
The worst comes to worst, it's a triple loop.
Yeah.
So it's not to me the end of the world, but I just think that we just need to drill the shorts. And he has about a month until Italian Championship, so I think he just needs to again. And he actually is competing this weekend, but he just needs to drill them like
and
over and
spin
over
well.
and over.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're right. I did see those on stream. That's like the Olympic Games. Oh my God, Kevin's there too.
The Olympics for Kevin probably won't be there. He'll probably be at the final. But
yeah. And Shaidorov is also there. That's a really good event.
Yeah, it's going to be packed next week. Not next week, a couple weeks from now. Ksenia was also pointing out that Kevin's placement meant that Shun.
I feel so bad for
Shun. It's so hard. I think Shun is skating so well this year, and honestly,
better than ever.
I would have had him higher than Cow at this event.
Yeah.
And if he'd have been higher than Cow, he would have probably made the final.
Yeah.
I have a really strange question, and maybe someone can enlighten me. I'm a huge Shun Sato fan. Honestly, this event, I really love a lot of these men's skaters. They really do it for me. But we can all agree that the flip is a major Lutz, right? In the short.
Okay. I haven't
and the Lutz is gorgeous quad Lutz. Like sensational, perfect outside edge. But he does flip in the short.
Yeah.
And he does get an edge call on it. So to me, but he doesn't do a flip in the free. He just does Lutz in the free. So it's like, I would understand if he was doing Lutz and flip in the short, and then Lutz and flip in the free, and one of them's going to get an attention or whatever. And that totally understand. But it just seems like, there's these 3 points from this edge call, which for an attention or edge call could be even more, that are like up in the air that could so be like in our scoreboard. Because it isn't, in my opinion, even a review. Like you would 100% call the edge on the flip, but his Lutz is gorgeous. Like it is sensational. It is perfect outside, to me at least. So it just is confusing.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those where you're like, why are you doing this?
I think he was falling on the Lutz in the short a lot last year. So I don't know if maybe it's a mental thing.
Perhaps.
Yeah. I was going to say his running edge, and I think gorgeous. Especially that was the thing that I noticed so much between him and Cal. And Cal sometimes does, but he just was tight and not really landing with confidence here. So he was still landing those jumps, but it's just the difference between like doing them and doing them that well. Really stood out to me here. And
Cal has this like reckless abandon, which is so fun. So she has a very like Cowrie-esque vibe in their approach to skating, and it's exciting and it's exhilarating. But it just needs like Frank Carroll. Like that's what I always think. Like some people like you need Frank Carroll like now. Like, and I think like then you'd be like world champion. Like he just needs someone to be like, we need to hold our landings for like a gorgeous like 5 seconds. And just like let's go like easy, let's spin. We need to spin. He needs to just spin for an hour a day. Just keep on spinning. Because he had about, I'd say 5-6 points on the table from those spins. Like he really just, where did they go?
And he had an invalid
in the short it was invalid. And you're like, what are you doing? Yeah.
I don't think it's the first time he's had an invalid spin either. I feel like it's happened previously, like in big competitions.
Yeah.
He reminds me of like 2016, 17 Shoma Uno in some ways. Like just so exciting, but just a little bit wild around the edges. It's why I thought the Beauty and the Beast program worked so well for him last year.
Yeah, I loved
sort of like over the topness. And I really like how I felt like both last year when I was first seeing Cal and Shun, and I saw them, I feel like each at least twice in person with where their assignments were last year. It just was not clicking for me. They weren't standing out. I thought Shun was nice, but just not like grabbing me. And I feel like this year, I think he's found programs that he's a little more introverted kind of style, and I feel like he's found programs that are working well for him. And so I feel like we're really lucky. There's lots of really
for sure. I love to describe it as like the Japanese men this season remind me of circa 2021-22 Russian ladies, where it's just like there's this whole crop, and unfortunately, like 4 of them are staying home this year, and it's like, and that doesn't mean like they're gonna post numbers that would win a national championship in almost every other country, and they're gonna have these sensational moments, but they're so deep and so good and all so different that it's just such a shame that it's like we're not going to get to see a lot of these programs, and it's sad because they're just so good. Like they could really send 2 full teams.
Yeah.
I really enjoy watching them all. I think that they all need to like find what makes them all uniquely themselves, just to like have like their own like direction, because a lot of them are going for like that same 2 quad short program and just skating to nice music and doing a nice program, but they need to like trademark themselves a little bit. Like, I am this skater, like this is what I'm doing. I don't know, but it's just it makes for an incredible national. That's going to be like everyone's best Christmas gift. But it's going to be really good. But it's crazy how so many of them are not going to keep going. They're just so good, so deep.
Yeah, I was glad that Koshiro did better here. He's somebody that I wish would extend his free leg on his jumps. Speaking of, but I was going to not blame much of the ankle this time. But I feel like it's a shame that he has a really nice, fun sort of program with the Danse Macabre, and I've seen bits of it where he's been like totally living it, and he just has not been able to skate it that way this year. So
I skated with him for a month last May. He came with Misha.
Oh, nice.
And he, oh my God, we're jumping, focus, straight face, like he's in it. You put that music on, you would think that the stage, the curtains are open. It's like who is that? Like his face lights up. It is like this ray of sunshine. It's really good.
Oh yeah, were you talking about Kazuki?
Yeah, Kazuki.
Okay, yeah. I was talking about Koshiro, but
oh my God, sorry. But
no,
I've also skated with too, and he came with Stefan here before too. He's a really cute guy too, just a happy face.
Yeah, I enjoyed the because he is a very happy, smiley person. The idea that he's his like dark eyeliner and is like doing Danse Macabre, I'm kind of enjoying. I feel like he's like trying to like channel like dark puppet master Koshiro. I want to see more of it.
I kind of want to see him do, and this could be like an unpopular opinion because it is an overused piece of music, but I think he would be my pick for it. I would like to see him do Black Swan. I think he could bring something to it that's kind of interesting. And I think it would push for those elongated legs, and it would just add like, but I think he could be someone that it could be like kind of like his moment. I don't know. Maybe that's just in my head.
I've always liked his exhibitions better than any of the competitive programs that he's had. I think when he gets to really be the artistic, like his skating skills don't always match up to the like I think the level of artistry and like musicality he feels, but like in an exhibition where he's not as stressed, I feel like we get the best side of him. So
that's a very fair point.
Should we also talk about Nikolai did really fantastic here.
Yes. He is like, okay, so it's so funny. We call each other maybe 6 times a day. It's so funny because we like bonded together so much this summer. We had like side-by-side rooms all training, and we would warm up very like similar. We'd watch like the same skating videos. We have like very similar favorite skaters on the ice, like yelling at like helping, like yelling, like motivational, like screaming at each other the whole time. It was so fun. But we had like a little deal with each other that when we're now in our like respective like training ranks, we have to send each other run through videos weekly basis, just for like to stay on top of it, just so that you know like someone is going to watch it and pick it apart and like tell you the real. So I got to see all the preparation going into this, and he is absurd in practice. Like, even the commentator pointed it out, Mark, who's such a nice guy, but like, he doesn't miss in practice. It is fascinating to watch. Like, I've seen longs where he'll do two letters and a flip. I think there was an idea to do a flip and a let in the short. I think he might even do that this weekend at a competition. He is just a machine, and it's nuts to watch. Oh, literally. Oh my God, this is so funny. You can see. He's calling me right now. I can't make it up. It's right there.
That's brilliant timing.
But like, it's just so impressive to watch, and I just think he needs. And I tell him he gets nervous for these major events, because when you see like there's this opening in this major platform, which is like totally undeniable. But my God, if I was that consistent, honey, play the music. I'm ready. Like, he doesn't miss, and it's really just interesting to see like why he's making these mistakes. But I just think like after every competition, it's gonna get a little bit better. But we'll see.
Yeah, no, I was glad to see him do so much better here, because I saw him at Autumn Classic, and it was exactly like you were saying. Like, in practice, it was amazing, and then the competition itself wasn't living up to it, and just that's yeah. But
I see someone asked if he's gonna do. Sorry, I'm gonna spoil it for him.
Yeah.
His Satoko short. No, he's not gonna do it.
Okay.
He'll do it as maybe next season. It's going to be the gala program. It's very good. He did it all summer, and then right before ACI switched because he just felt more comfortable with the Rachmaninoff. And it's a bit more transition rich. The other one, like the step sequence was spectacular, but it was very like a technical program. But it was very good. I think we'll see it. He was potentially going to do a Nureyev free skate this season, which could have been amazing, because like we're ballet nerds. Like, we were like so stupid. We would be in like ice bathing our feet in the night, and then being like, let's watch like my favorite Svetlana Zakharova do Giselle for like 3 hours. So like, we're very big ballet nerds. So he was going to do that, but he ended up keeping the free, which I think is a smart choice. He's playing around with a bunch of different costumes. He has 2 for both programs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to figure out, like, I don't know when he's going to like settle on what he's doing. He'll be in the morning and be like, I'm wearing the red today. And I'm like, okay, enjoy.
I do like the red costume. My unsolicited fashion opinion is that I don't think he should slick back his hair. I think it looks better when it's curly.
Yeah. This is big on Sarah's opinion as well.
Because we were just thinking, like, what's super like non like, because the free is supposed to be like really Roman and very like curly hair and like flowy, and I guess we were like, what could be super opposite? So I think whatever suggestions you have, he will be more than happy to do it. He's not sold on anything.
I think the hair gel is a bit of a jinx. The 2 competitions he's used it.
You know what?
It's not been great.
So he will not be doing it this weekend. To whom it may concern, I can make sure that happens.
Thank you very
Your
much.
wish is my command.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I think it was a good idea to stick with those 2 programs, because also not everyone has seen the junior programs. Not everyone watches the Junior Grand Prix, so it is new content for some people. And also with judging being very up and down this season, it sort of
we have this
comfortable
inside joke, which he would love me to tell you, about his 199 at ACI, and it's like become an inside joke, because it's like he felt that he, apart from the one jump error in the free skate, skated very well, and we all thought he skated very well, but received like these component scores that were like the lowest of his, like 60 points in the free skate in components.
Yeah, it's just like, have you ever seen Nikolai?
Like, one judge was giving him like 8.5 and another judge was giving him 5.
4.
It was like,
he got 4 in the short. We're clean skate.
That's like the definition of reputation scoring. That's like somebody is like, oh, I don't know who this is, I'm not going to give them a high score. What? Watch what? Look what you're watching.
I know, it's quite crazy. So it's just funny because now we just compare everything to that.
Yeah.
We're like, well, it's better than 199, so we'll take it. Yeah, it's just become an inside joke. But.
Yeah. I actually love his free skate. I know it's controversial, the combination of the Samson and the exogenesis. I think it works so well. It's
great.
Bonkers to combine it, but I love it. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. He's a big Jeff Buttle fan, so if you notice, the short program is the exact Jeff Buttle cut. And the opening music of the free skate is also Jeff Buttle's Olympic free skate. So here's your little
awesome
influence. And I see someone asked about his boots, and I know all of the story about it. He's been struggling so much with the Adea boots. They break for him quite quickly. He can break in skates faster than anyone I've ever seen in my life. But specifically his right foot, because most of his quads are off his right foot, he does loop flip lets. He doesn't really do much sow and toe. So he just drills those right foot jumps and they break very quickly. So he wanted to try, I recently switched to Aura skates and I love them and they're really stable. And he wanted to try them. So we had Auras come in, but he didn't have enough time to change the left. So he tried them, liked them. He realized the right was going to be super comfortable, but the left for axle, he's very, not superstitious, but very sure of himself on axles. And he's a very big kid. And anyone that like really knows changing skates on your left skate for axles is very not fun to do. So he was just like, I'm just going to try it. And nobody noticed the first 2 times he did it. He actually had that in Finlandia Trophy. Nobody noticed. And Budapest, nobody noticed. And then I think France was the first time. So it's been a funny joke.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of people having different blades on each foot.
Yeah,
but
Rika used to do that all the time. She wanted gold for axle.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Just scanning through everyone.
Just going to bring up what Russell said about enjoying Shmuratko. I love his programs. I'm sad he took out the fall at the end.
I thought it was so good. Oh my god!
I'm still annoyed it was counted as a fall. It's a controlled movement. It's not uncontrolled. It's not 100%
so on your wavelength. I thought it was everything, and it makes the program good.
I think you ought to be able to put in your plan program content like little asterisk. There is a play on fall or something like that. Just to be
we had a funny joke because there's an ice dance team and I don't remember, but at Budapest, I kid you not, she rolls on her stomach as if she is rolling down a hill. I think you guys may have even posted it. On your Twitter.
Lucy Hancock.
Yes. Lucy Hancock, yeah.
Hilarious. So good. And we're like, but no fall deduction. And you're like,
no.
What?
I know, yeah.
Piper and Paul have a choreographic fall in their program.
Exactly, yeah.
And then you've got Laura Naki-Gutman lying on the ground for her. Like, so it's just like, it's so inconsistent. Yeah. It's very annoying.
And to me, like, Ivan's program is like, it just makes sense for and it's not like he's like going to skate after it. Like, it's the end. I'm like, I don't know. And to me, I think it's dramatic. If he's skating clean, just do it. Take the deduction, because you're gonna make it back with the full audience at Worlds on their feet, giving you a standing ovation, representing Ukraine and Canada, skating a clean program. Take the deduction. You'll make it up in components. I promise. Like, I just
it's like Adam with the backflip. It's like if you
take the
throw in a backflip.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it could be cool.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the general trend of like allowing more levels of movement in skating, that like we have the slides, we have like even the cartwheels, even though they're overused. Like, I'm a fan of the idea that we can have like more types of body movement and we don't have to be in very traditional skating posture the whole time. I'm always happy when people are experimenting, and I wish
I want to see, and I kind of had this like thought, and maybe like this is allowed and I don't know, but you know when people are like warming up like a butterfly spin, like the Arabian, like where they're into flying camel, and I just knocked it off my head, but you would typically do it on like the board. And I think it could be kind of cool if you're right at judge front and you push yourself on, and you from behind you see like the legs twirl and nobody's expecting it. I don't know. I think that's something I want to see. So I don't know who's going to do it, but props to them if they do it, because I think it could be really cool.
Yeah, I'm happy that people are pushing.
Can you
I think
start sitting on the boards? That's another question I want to know. Or you have to be touching the ice.
I think Luna's sitting on the. I think her feet are off the ice at one point. Maybe not, but
I have no clue, because
Yeah.
I also think it could be kind of fun for like 1 year if someone's like, I don't know, skating, and they're like, they jump on the board and they're like sitting cross-legged, listening to, I don't know, like just making it interesting. Like you have it there, like maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. It just makes me think about Keegan's exhibition where he's literally like bouncing off the walls the whole time.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my God. So imagine my face, my first senior nationals. It's Olympic season. And I'm on practice, final flight for the free skate. And Keegan's skating in front of me, like 6-minute warm up. And he does that, like jumps onto the boards, like backflip off of it. My face like hit the floor, like my jaw. Like I was like, what is going on here? Like he would pull up these things that you're like, what are we doing? But it was really cool.
I think a lot of the board talk is a good segue for
Yeah.
famous
Exactly.
ice dance event. So in gold we have Madison Chock and Evan Bates of the US. In silver we have Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Nikolai Sorensen for Canada. And in bronze we have Julia Togula and Matthias Verslos for Finland.
Love how you can tell you've interviewed them by the way you pronounce them.
I asked them and I was like, please tell me how to say your name right. But something I always find amusing, because people, I think, learn it every year, or new people learn it every year, is that Cora, you were in fact an ice dancer as well on the Junior Grand Prix for a number of years.
Yeah.
So this is sort of your other field of expertise.
Oh, I don't know if I could say that. I was never expertise in that world. And in my defense, it changes every month, the rules.
Yeah.
And the ice dance
Fair
world.
enough.
So, is anyone ever really an expertise at the ice dance event?
No, yeah. I used to be up on all of the rules. I've kind of lost the plot in the last 2 years. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everyone kind of has that vibe.
So, but first of all, I want to know your thoughts on the like 80s rhythm dances that everyone's
doing.
doing.
God, I have so many thoughts. I'm so glad you asked. So I feel like people are going in two directions here. There is people that are skating to music from the 80s, and then there's people who are skating to the 80s. And me, and I think the world of figure skating fans are responding to people who are skating to the 80s more. And to me, that's examples of like Piper and Paul, Charlene and Marco, like teams that are going for the crazy crimped hair, the crazy makeup, the fishnet tights, the shiny, think Madonna, think all this. Because to me, skating to like Queen, Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, it's great. It's the 80s. But is it like, does it have the same theme? Like Michael Jackson can fit 1,001 different themes. It fit for street dance. It fit for like so many different eras. And I want to see like 80s. I want it to be cringy. I want you to laugh. Like it should be campy. It should be like, to me, they should just rename it to like the Met Gala 2019. Like that's the theme of the short dance. That's what I want. I like want it to be so ridiculous. Like the Canadians going out in sunglasses, like camp, right? Like that's what we want. We don't want just like another Queen program.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think like Lila Lewis also doing like 80s, like rolling on the ice. Like, yeah, sign me up. Like that's what we want. Like in your face 80s. Like I think of Gabby and Guillaume's Fame. That's what to me is that's the bar. Everyone's chasing fame. That's what we're looking for. But I don't know. Maybe that's like an unpopular opinion.
Leg warmers involved in this year. That is actually, now that I'm thinking this, like that is really shocking to me that have more people doing. I mean, maybe they don't want to be compared to that program, but like, why don't we have more like aerobics, 80s aerobics?
And now that you could touch the boards, imagine if you were skating to like Physical by Olivia Newton-John, and your starting position is your legs on the board, stretching. Like that's the camp that we need, right? I think it's so good.
A lot
Yeah,
of this is
it
like
does.
the polar opposite opinion to like Megan Hamill's.
Really? Oh, okay.
No, it's good. It's good.
Megan, the theme is 80s. I'm just gonna put it out there. The theme is not pretty skating. Like the theme is 80s.
See,
Yeah.
I totally agree with everything you're saying, except then I look at, and I think about which are the programs that are my favorites, and I realize it's because I like all of these sort of like emo, the world is terrible, like 80s music, and
Yeah,
so
that's great too, though.
So I really like the Germans
Yeah.
short program rhythm dance. Was really fun. I like Anthony and Christina's. I really like.
great.
They weren't here, but I really like the Italian team whose names are escaping me right now.
Melanie Roethlisberger.
Yes, I like theirs with like the sort of an MTV theme with like a whole bunch of different cuts in it. And then and I also love the Yuka and Yuho's dance, their Madonna one, because that's the Madonna that I associate with the 80s. Madonna, and they give it so much. So I've been complaining about how I don't really like most of these rhythm dances, and then there were like 3 here. That I'm like, oh, I like all of these.
Sure. It's always like a big question, but to me, like, and I don't know, maybe it's an unpopular opinion, or growing up with like a lot of the coaches at the rink always like, we love playing 80s music. And it's like very their era. Brian always puts 80s music on. And Tracy Stroking, we love it. And we just love how fun it is. And it's not just generic music that you listen to on a day-to-day basis. Like it can be, but it can also be like it's a period of time. There's a reason the theme isn't the 90s.
Yeah.
Because like what is that? But the 80s is such a clear, it's so specific. And I just think like ice dance, especially in the rhythm, like it gives like they want a clear differentiation from the free dance. They want the free dance to be like kind of like this movie mirage of everything you want to do, but then the short needs to be something very specific. And it can't always just be like what you want to skate to.
Which is why I think it's very funny that there's always like a few Prince rhythm dances, but then there's also like at least 2 Prince free dances going on this year as well.
Yeah,
so like...
exactly.
Yeah. The theory that you would skate to something in the free dance that you could also skate to in the rhythm dance in the same year just seems so wrong to me.
Exactly, yeah.
Hancock Ferretti do that as well.
Yeah.
So we do actually have a question. What do you think of Nadia and Peter's free dance?
I love it. And I was like a part of like, I remember hearing about all like the original thought processes, and they had a completely different free dance plan. And she might kill me for saying this. So I'm sorry, I love you, but I'm going to say it just because I think it's interesting. They were going to do Twilight, was the original.
Oh, wow.
Dance. Yeah. That was the original one, and they were playing with it for a couple days or weeks or something. And they had like Rosalind in mind, and it was going to be like a very flowy version of like this dark. And then when she was like, you know what, they ended up going to Romeo and Juliet, but they wanted to kind of play the story a little bit differently, kind of influenced by that like flowy vibe. I think she is such a Juliet when you look at her. She has that like ambiance, like, over the shoulder, like looking for Prince Charming, and I just love it. The starting position is a wow. Like that's an example of how like it's trademarkable. It is like you immediately know who that is. And it just shows like how a starting position in these free dances could really mean something. Like, so really like go for these shapes, go for these intricacies. I love it. Maybe I'm biased because I think she's great and he's amazing too, but I think it's really good.
Yeah, I love that they mirror it in the final, like start and the end have that that
really
mirror.
Good, really good. I'm trying to think in the ice dance event. I find that the World Championship is going to be a bloodbath in the ice dance event. I really hope that it's not going to be like a super politically run event, that it's already kind of predetermined, because I think that there's so many people, and I love that the judges are keeping everyone close right now. And that to me is like super exciting, because they had the opportunity with Chalk and Bates getting these astronomical scores last year to really just go for it and keep them like head over heels above everyone. And they're not. And they're keeping it in the same like world, and it can kind of be anyone's game. And I'm really into that. I really respond well to Laurence and Nick's programs this season. I think they're really good. And I think the Top Gun free dance is genius. And I love this idea of this Notre Dame free dance, and they have these trademarkable images. And to me, like, I'm like, they're really in the mix. And I wonder why the judges don't want to give them a score that's ridiculously high. Because I think it's time. Like, and I'm not saying it needs to be every time, but I think it's time we just throw it. Give them something that's ridiculously high, because they deserve it to me.
Yeah. Is that because they don't want to put two Canadian teams like at that level?
I don't know. Like, it does feel like questionable, because it's like, if you watch the event and you're like, well, why are they actually, like, it's hard as a viewer who doesn't understand the rules particularly amazingly, but you watch them and you're like, they're faster than everyone, they're stronger than everyone, their elements are spectacular, their programs are spectacular, they look spectacular and polished, and you're like this should win. Like, at least in not every event they enter in, but like a lot of the time, especially with Chalk and Bates making errors in both programs, I was like, well, this should win. Like, it just feels like, it felt like a little bit like we're being held back. And I don't know. I think it should be like, in a single event, you fall, you lose, you land, you win kind of thing. And I love that vibe. And I think that I'd love to see that in the ice dance event too.
Yeah, it's one thing, and that's where the reputational judging and the politics of it just start to really bother me. And I would be okay if, if you show me like, yes, everything else is still great. It's when in the element that has a mistake, top teams are not penalized the way that the other teams would be.
Yeah, because it should affect the components too. I'm just like, it should. A mistake in an element should affect it, because it is no longer a 9-5 in composition, because the composition is the whole program, and there's an error, and I could see it and you could see it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think Triple Bates had great twizzles in either program.
Yeah,
and I think
their free dance
is probably one of their weakest elements, and it's not marked that way.
Yeah. To me, their free dance right now, and they did the same thing last year, but they changed it, and it was spectacular at the end. And I hope they approach it similarly. It's a bit flat right now.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, what they're going to do about that, because they have these incredible acrobatic moments. But maybe that's a music composition. Maybe that's just adding some musicality to some of the elements, just making it build. But it's a bit flat in comparison to some of these other mega free dances. Like, we're talking about, like, not to say that Lila and Lewis are pushing for the gold, but that's a mega free dance. Like, love it or hate the Rocky, the whole audience in Canada is going to be on their feet. They're going to be on their feet halfway through it. And like, that's to me like the ice dance event. I just think, like, up it. Like, I don't know how they're going to do it, but that school is like famous for making incredible programs. So I just think, I hope that they take some time and rework it a little.
With both of their programs, there are moments that are fantastic, but I don't think they're cohering into a strong whole. And I honestly feel that way, and for slightly different reasons. But I also sort of struggle with the whole of for Lolo and Nick as well. Just when they get to the choreo rhythm sequence and they like the intensity jumps up, I'm like, oh, where was that? And not that everything has to be that intense. It's just like, it's such a big jump to that energy point that it makes me realize that I've been zoning out slightly.
It does feel like the first part of the music goes on a little bit long. It feels
I agree completely.
And it's like subtle. It's like a subtle thing about the rhythm, but that's the kind of thing that teams can improve on over the course of the season. So I hope that it's going to be a work in progress for that. And I mean, the same thing, there's like amazing moments in Chalk and Bates free dance that I love, and I just am not brought along on the whole journey.
No, I agree. I would like to see, I want to see them do, and this is like 2 seasons now where they've kind of done these like non-theme programs. Like, and that's not to say obviously Queen is a theme. I'm talking more so in the free dance. I just think that they're most famous for these themes. Like that Lila and Lewis-esque, like that alien program was so cool. And it had everyone talking. And the snake program had everyone talking. And I just, like, I think it's time that we go for it, something wild again. And just get everyone talking. And I don't know, maybe that's just me.
Yeah, because I think the concept is to do with time, but it's a little bit...
You don't know if you don't look at the dress. Like, let's just play it.
Yeah.
They're, though it's was very funny watching them and watching the Finns back to back and realizing that they both had these sort of time related programs, and they were both doing like clock ticking motions with their arms. And I was feeling like, oh, like what, that must have been so frustrating for Yulia and Matthias to be like, wait, they're also doing a time themed program this year. And they're totally different things from each other, and the teams are very different. It's just was very funny realizing seeing them in that back to back that we're close to in the same competition like that.
It's like how the pairs have a back to back vampire program.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I think somebody else needs to do speaking of which, maybe that's the answer, is that Sarah and Nicolo need a vampire program too. And then we can have 3 vampire programs, and then we'll
bring it on.
Yeah.
They can do Twilight instead.
Exactly.
There we go.
They can do Twilight. That would be perfect. We've got it figured out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else in the dance event that I really like the Finnish Chicago program. I think
I love that program.
It's fun, right? Like, and to me, like, it's supposed to be fun. Yeah. It's cheesy, and that's what we want. Like, nobody's getting to Chicago thinking like
a breakout program for them, but this should be like their proper breakout program. Like, if you're not paying attention to them, you should be.
Yeah, I think it's really cool.
They did so well here, and I enjoy them so much. I think they're absolutely one of my favorites to watch all the time, and I love that they both perform to such a with so much intensity. And I also love that he wears makeup. Like, just
I love that little heart thing.
Yes.
And I think Peter actually also wears makeup in the short dance, the black. And I think more of the boys should really do that, because that's very 80s-esque.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, who's a good do you know who actually, oh my god, I'm gonna pick my brain here. I think it's I love Marjo and Zach so much. Love them. Love everything they do for the sport. But the fact that they're skating to a zombie program without him in zombie makeup, to me, feels like such a missed opportunity. I want him to come out with like fake blood on the face, black under the, like, I think it could be cool, no?
They should.
Right? Like, we're doing a zombie, like, we're not doing like Swan Lake here. I just think it could be like, this is the time to like wow everyone. I don't know. It could be cool.
This is the moment to be campy, to be all things. So if you're gonna
there's gonna be a year where the theme is a waltz, and everyone's gonna be gorgeous and beautiful and in pink. But this is not that.
I don't know if the waltz will ever come back as a rhythm at this point, because it seems so far from what the committee wants Ice Dance to be at this point. I would love it to come back for a season, but I don't know if it ever will.
Yeah.
There may be a waltz rhythm, but that's not going to be the theme. Yeah. Yeah. The other team that I definitely wanted to give a shout out to here was the Germans, who I feel like this is where my lack of ice dance scoring knowledge just hits me, because I always feel like they get lower scores than I expect for them. I really like both of their programs a lot, and I love that they're doing a tango it's partly Piazzolla, but it's not only Piazzolla. I really like the first music that they're using, and it just makes them stand out so much to me. I do wish that Benjamin had a shirt that was not a different color red than her dress, the red stripe on the back of his shirt. I feel so shallow when I want to make these comments about people's costumes, but it's like Ellie and Danny's greens not matching. When you're a pair and your colors clash, it just drives me so.
No, I have to say, from a skater's perspective, when it's costume comments, 9 times out of 10, we really appreciate it. The times when we don't is when it's like, this makes us look bad in this, and you list all the reasons why it looks bad, or like, this is just like so unflattering. Like, no.
Oh yeah.
Like, just give like the suggestion of like so you were just like, just the colors should match. Like, that's perfect. That's all. But like, I feel like now fans are scared to talk about costume. No, like we like will take it. We love like a comment. It's quite helpful because a lot of the times we're used to seeing them up close, or and we don't really like get how it transcends on the screen. But it's just funny sometimes about people in the costume.
Yeah, and it's
especially with the whole Maddie drama this year, which was the most hilarious thing in the world.
That was the greatest thing ever. So I get, oh my God, I'm telling you all my stories. I get a text message from Matt. Like, I am just finishing dinner. Like, I'm skating the next day. It's like a Wednesday. And she goes like, I need you to deal with something for me. And I'm like, what do I have to do? And she just sends me a screenshot and she was like, I can't handle this tonight. She was like, take care of it. I said, I'm on it. No worries. I'll take care of it. Don't worry, hon. I'm all yours. I tried.
I think like I woke up to all of like reading those comments. It was very entertaining to wake up to. We got so many comments about the ice dance event, so I'm going to run through a couple as quickly as I can. Christina saying, Christina and Anthony missing the podium for home skaters twice in a row. A lot of love for both of their programs.
I agree. I love their programs.
Yes, I agree that it's such a Christina vibe, this Phoenix. It's so good. So good.
Eloise, I believe I said that right, saying many people criticize Julia and Matthias for being a one-dimensional team, but show that rhythm dance can be versatile, one of the few teams who have a real 80s program.
I agree with that.
And someone also mentioned their Julius Tutu, but I can't find that at the moment. So many.
I was going to say, I think Jen and Ben have some of the best lifts in the entire ice dance field. I don't think they get enough credit for that. Like, they're so good at lifts.
And someone's pointing out that he needs to work on some of the movement quality, and I can totally see that. They're not always at the same level. They're not always matching, like all of that. I think I just appreciate that they're giving us something different, and I hope that they do. They're on the older end. They're not that much, but I really hope that they are able to keep skating and keep improving, because I definitely I feel like they really add something each season.
They're definitely aiming for the Olympics.
Yeah.
And just to end on ice dance, I'll end with this very funny image.
Incredible.
I spoke to Nadia about this, actually.
Nadia's posture is the best thing about this whole thing.
Yeah, she just looks so above it, right? Look at that. She's like, I don't care. I'm gonna destroy you. Yeah, it's so funny.
And we will move on to women.
Awesome. So I will say this, and then I'm going to have to jump in like 3 or 4 minutes. So the gold here, as expected, Kaori Sakamoto, silver, Rion Sumiyoshi, and bronze for Amber Glenn. And I love the come from behind medal here for Amber. It was that recovery and skating this program was amazing, and I love that she said all she needs to do is to have the short program and the axel from Skate America and the rest of the program from here, and she'll put it together and it'll be great. But
she'll win worlds.
And she'll win worlds. And I mean, that's the thing though, that the fact that she was able to score so well here with that opening single axel, I think really shows that the judges want to give her those scores. So if she can get a clean program together, I think she will. She, very well could end up on a world podium. So it would be.
I'm a major Amber fan. She's another one like Sarah Nicola, where you just want to shake her and be like, "Oh my God, like you are so in this. Like
Yeah.
Like, honey, like, you got it. She's like a skater, right? She's absolutely gorgeous. Is such a great on ice skater, presence. She has no edge calls, which is spectacular. Very, like, no under rotations, really. Like, as long as she's jumping fine. Great spinner, great jumper, great programs, like, well packaged. She's like, she could be such a major presence because she's so easy to like.
Yeah.
And I just think like she needs to train as if she's going to be. And I find like she's very kind and she like accepts the fact that it's some other people's time to shine. Like, no, like, it's yours. Like, you are going to win this. Like, there's no reason why she shouldn't walk into US Nationals. And listen, I love Isabeau like a sister too. But both of them, and I think this is what's going to make them both great. They should walk in and be like, I want to win. And the goal is to win. Anything less than that is a success, but it wasn't the goal. So I just think like she could be so good. And she's so great. And I want to see it. Like, and I think she can do it. And I think if she has a couple great skates back to back, like, it's all she's going to need. And is she doing Croatia too? I think she is, right?
Yeah, she's on the list for Croatia.
So I'd love to see her destroy everyone. Like, I want it to be like crazy score.
Yeah, I think that's true. It's like if she can just get that confidence of having done it once, like it'll come
because
together.
it's one of those things that if you like interviewed people, you were like, so what makes Amber not on a world podium? Nobody would be able to answer the question. Like, well, she's so fast and she skates great and she's great jumps, great spins, no calls. What? Like, she just needs to get it. Yeah. I think she's great.
Oh, that's a great comment. I would say Amber's free was the moment of the whole Grand Prix. Yes, I mean it was so fantastic, and the fact, like as somebody pointed out, she and Jimmy Ma had the opposite experiences.
Yeah,
third to 11th and 11th to third. So this was kind of a wild scoring at this competition. But I also because I am going to jump. So I'm just going to give you my like 3 women's thoughts all in a row and uncoordinatedly here. But super happy for Rian. This should be the Grand Prix final, hopefully. I think. Yes?
Yeah, she should be fine.
So.
Yeah.
I think it's actually Rian could. No, but Rian maybe at the next event could maybe. Reno.
Okay.
Reno is not in NHK.
She was also third, so if she comes, I think second or first, she could.
Oh yeah, but she didn't. She doesn't have a second assignment.
Oh, she doesn't.
No, she barely got the first one.
We're already maxed out.
Crazy. Anywho.
Yeah.
Well, unless there's a late withdrawal from somebody and they quickly shove her in, that's not gonna be
I do. Yeah, but I really like Rihanna, especially her free skate, and I'm really happy for her, and also super happy that we had some good skates from the Finnish women. I really like Una. And she was doing so well and it all fell apart, but it was nice to see they all kind of had something going for them here, and I am just going to continue to say how much I love Lara Naki-Gutman's skating, and we all talk about how great her free is, which it is. I love her short. I think it's so
the hair flip in the beginning, the crossovers with the come on.
And I'm not a big fan of the like snake programs. I think they go into kind of Orientalist territory kind of quickly sometimes, but I feel like hers has like just real integrity and interesting movement, and I started out just kind of thinking like, oh, she's really interesting and I'm kind of rooting for her, and now I'm like full on, she's one of my favorite skaters. So
actually I'm really interested to see Italy is elected to put their top 3 girls against each other in Croatia with their new Swiss star. So that is going to be the event to watch for the Italian girls.
Yes. Okay. On that note, bye. Thanks so much, Corey.
Bye.
Yeah, I've kind of spotted like Una a few years ago, and she's such an artistic skater. The problem is just consistency and getting like a full good program in terms of landing all the jumps how they should be and not popping things. It's a shame because she's got so much potential and it's just never quite materialized. But I'm glad she got the opportunity to skate here, because I think there's been obviously like a couple of Grand Prix here, and she's always kind of just been on the outside. She's always probably been like the 4th pick and never the 3rd. So nice for her to get this opportunity.
I found the tech panel was like on something, the whole women's event. I think everyone had at least like 3 calls. Like it was like quite crazy to watch. I mean, I'm not saying that they all shouldn't have gotten, but it was just like we were not going to give any benefit of the doubt. Like I think even like Calorie received a lot of calls, which some like I can't say that I disagree with the let's call. I think like collectively, like we've all just elected to pretend that it's not there, and I don't think that's fair to the other girls in the event.
Yeah, I think it was like a few years ago that, like, I mean, she never used to put the LUTs really, like, she never used to put the LUTs in the short because she knew she'd get called on it.
Exactly.
And I think it was Benoit who was just like, just put it in, and if it gets called, it gets called, but just put it in, and because it's worth it if it's not.
So I personally am of the opinion that it should be called. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it's fair to the other girls, unless you like, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
I think it used to get called a lot before she won Wilds, and then it sort of petered off a little bit.
Everyone closes their eyes and says,
"What?" With like some of Shoma's calls are a little similar.
Yeah. Like if you're calling, be consistent.
So that's why I was kind of I appreciated to see, as ruthless as the panel was, that it was fair. Everyone kind of got obliterated together.
Yeah, I mean, even if Kaori is still first, she is kind of like 20 points down on what is considered her best score.
Yes, and it makes for an interesting world championship with the girls. Like it's really like, obviously Kaori is the clear front runner, and it'll be shocking if she doesn't win. But she hasn't exactly posted like consistently like the greatest scores. Like she did a phenomenal Ski Canada, but then it like was followed up with this, and like ACI wasn't spectacular either. So it's like it could kind of be like a battle.
Yeah, and she's not a skater who's like necessarily like coming out and winning every single event. I mean, the Grand Prix final last year was not good for her.
Yeah,
so you never know when things are gonna. And she's also been talking about she's had like a little foot problem since the summer as well. So
yeah, I read that too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else in the women. I do love Rion. I do really love her commitment to some of the bigger elements. I think that like it's a prime example of like she could push herself a little bit more in the short. I think like the combination in the second half feels very feasible for her.
Yeah.
Like it feels like something that it's an extra point, and I know it's not a lot, but in a women's event it could be a lot. And I think like she looks like the kind of girl that's strong with stamina to be able to do something like that. So I'd love to see her do that. I do think the quad's amazing in the free. I wonder why it's the second element following a combination, just because a combination is more effort than a solo jump. So it's just going to be like, maybe she wants to do it tired. And I know it's second jump, but you are a little bit more fatigued than your first. And if she wants to do it second, that's great. But maybe I would have done a solo jump as the first jump. Jump, like maybe just a gorgeous triple X or something, or a double X by itself.
I guess maybe it's a layout reason, and she just like likes doing it on that. But she could like go the other way. But I mean, I guess she likes doing it at that part of the ice.
Yeah, I'm just thinking for like a consistency base, because she seems to be hitting them pretty well in isolation. So it's like, because I'm just thinking like maybe by Worlds, if she goes, why don't we do 2 and push for gold? Because 2 quad toes could be enough to win it, because that's 2 10-point elements that someone is going to just have a double axel.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just interesting. I just want to see some of the girls really push it, because I think that with the absence of the Russians, and that's not to say that I want that we all need to be doing 100 billion quads because nobody wants to see like these empty programs. But I just would like to see a little bit more of a, like an Amber, still doing the axel when she doesn't need to do it. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't necessarily need to do that, but she wants to do it for herself. Rion to me is a similar situation. She wants to do it for herself. And I think a lot of these girls really can do some bigger elements, but I don't know why. I'd love to see like a little breakout.
Yeah. A couple of people, we have Mai in chat saying, as a Finn, I'm really happy about Nella's success this season.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see where she can go in the future. I think it was a really good competition for the Finnish women. Obviously not like ideal with placements, but it's nice to always see new faces to such a big competition.
I think there's also an upcoming Finnish junior girl that's spectacular. I don't know her name, but she did the gala.
Ida Karvunen? I'm probably getting her name entirely
gorgeous
wrong, but
triple flip, triple loop. She to me is someone to keep like thought process. She's great. Action's a bit scary, but great triple technique, great combo technique. And
I remember seeing her axel on the Junior Grand Prix. It's a very interesting technique.
Yeah,
it's
very interesting. But the rest is so pure, so it's quite interesting.
Yeah. Also, I love how much of an artistic skater Young has become. It's a shame that, like, obviously she's had issues with injuries and she's not as consistent as she used to be, but I think her artistic improvement is to be commended. She's a lovely skater.
Definitely. It's obviously understandable that she is sort of still dealing with her injury and sort of building herself back up. But it's good to see her out on the Grand Prix anyway.
Yeah.
Comment from Daniel. Rough event for Cheon and Young. The Koreans are struggling so far on the Grand Prix.
Yeah, they've not been as dominant as they are in like juniors this year.
Yeah, I'm interested all around. To me, all the disciplines apart from the ice dance, the Koreans seem to be behind in their preparation. And I don't know, like I remember there was probably but I feel like they were injured last year too.
Yeah.
Like I know from June was injured last year too, going into the season.
And Yellen was by the end.
Yeah. It just looks like they all need like I don't know, like a group chat, like, and just like we're now gonna like start doing this. Because it's quite consistent that all the Koreans just every time they compete look like it's their first event of the year. It doesn't matter if it's like their fifth. It just is always looking like their first. And they to me, the Korean skaters have such potential. I love the Korean skaters. I respond so much to them. And I don't know. I want to see them like pop up.
Yeah, Daniel also raises the point of they have to compete so many more times.
And I remember talking to June about all of this, and it was like, you really have to go do this like university competition? And he was like, yeah, I have to. It's mandatory. And I'm like, but it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Like,
it's the fact that they have both the nationals and the ranking competition, and the fact that even if you are as successful as June is, you're not allowed to skip it. And you've been injured all year. And you probably should skip it, but you're not allowed to skip it.
Yeah. And I find it forces them to get into this, and that's kind of been the comment with the Koreans for a lot. They look more like they skate like a machine and just like produce. And I think that comes from the fact that they have to compete so many times. So they have to get into this autopilot setting that just really pushes repetition.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame because I think there's such great stars on the horizon, but I found the opportunity was missed in the Grand Prix circuit this year for the Koreans as a whole.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find a comment that we got earlier, and it was more to do with Matteo, but I thought it was interesting, and I should have pinned it, but I didn't. But it was to do with the panels. So what's your opinion on the tech panel, split tech panel, PCS panel?
What do you mean?
They're trying to bring in separate judging panels, one just to judge the technical content and one just to judge the PCS.
Oh, for sure. I 100% am in agreement with that. I think that they aren't the same thing. Like, because you landed a gorgeous quad something does not mean that you have 8s in components, and vice versa. So I think it would remove a lot of like the bias, I think, because a lot of the times judges are overwhelmed with the elements, and we have to remember that like there's nowhere on the requirement that says yes, but because they're doing higher content, they get it's harder to do a program. Like that isn't a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it would like narrow out a lot of like the biased questioning.
Yeah.
I would love to see it. I think it would really keep a lot of people in the sport. But we also like always think that there should also be more medals in skating in regards to like components and PCS, because like we always laugh when you see like the Olympics and like the swimmers walk away with like 400 medals. But like to me, like a technical is a huge achievement. No one's saying that it's by many means athletically absurdly harder. And like if you were able to walk out of a world championship with like you won the technical like segment of the event, but like this person just won the component segment of the event, this person won the short and this person won the free. I think like that would, and then there could like, if you can win the most, like you're the all around person. And I feel like if you were able to split the panels, you would be able to have a good idea of who is the strongest component skater in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, the medal thing's been brought up a few times. I think it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Just looking. Daniel again. Loreen having another solid event is a good sign for France.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's had a very good kind of, even though she's done split years before, this is obviously her first senior full season. So yeah, she's having a good start to her senior career. Can't remember. I can't remember what it is that's going to be the decider. I did read there's going to be a decider for between her and Leah of who's going to get the European spot.
Yeah, Leah's doing NHK right this week.
Yeah, and she just did Warsaw last week.
Warsaw, yeah. Yeah, sorry, just see Jason. Someone said Jason winning. Yeah, honestly, it would be like no one would question it.
Daniel asks, do skaters want to compete more? IOC doesn't allow multiple medals for the same competition.
What are we implying? IOC doesn't IOC or ISU doesn't?
I guess
allow...
because you wouldn't get like we were discussing medals for the short and the free and the PCS and stuff.
Yeah, I just think it should be broken up.
Yeah.
So like you have your men's 1, 2, 3 on the podium and then the highest technical.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. We had so many comments today. Thank you all for interacting. I think a lot of people in the comment, with everyone in the comments, you've covered like every skater possible.
At least almost everybody.
Yeah, I think we've managed to touch on almost everyone at least. Is there any other thoughts that you have about Espoo or maybe NHK as we head into
Ooh,
NHK?
I have to think I think Shoma's headlining against Yuma, right?
Yeah.
Possible. So that to me is very interesting. In the women, I think this is a good opportunity for Hyen Lee to show that she's still in the mix for that world medal. In the ice dance, I can't remember who. Oh, the Italians are going, so they're going to want to post a huge number there. That will be their goal. And the pairs, I think, I hope Lucrezia can manage to snag a podium spot, maybe a final spot. Mihara, is Mihara still doing it? I thought she withdrew.
Yeah, she is still listed.
Interesting. Well, I would love if she could do it. I think she's breathtaking.
Yeah.
But I hope she doesn't rush because it doesn't have much of a reasons to it if she can't make the final. But I'd love
Nina
to see, oh my God,
Pinzerone
Lila
potentially making the final along with Luna would
that
be
could be
insane.
so
She just posted a
interesting.
196 in nationals last week, obviously national inflation, but like
I'm interested.
It's definitely possible.
I think she's rock solid, and I like that she's receiving big marks because sometimes these juniors to seniors, they have to wait years and years and years to kind of get those marks. But I love that she's getting that. She makes a really good push for Euros. She could be on that Euro podium, like, because we don't know how Kimmy's doing with the injury. I know she's back skating today.
She is on the list of Golden Spin, but I don't know if she's in this one.
Yes, because that feels very soon, given she skated today, and Golden Spin's in like 2 weeks. But you never know. Maybe she's just gonna like.
It might have been a placeholder. It might have just been.
Could have been. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I want to see Lila Lewis too. It's going to be interesting to see marking. Because I think with Japan, you have to think the audience is going to affect the ice dance event a little bit more than some of the quieter audiences. Like Finland was a bit more of an intimate audience, where Japan's going to be loud. So it could affect the marking. I don't know. Could be good. It's the last Grand Prix, so I tend to find there's like a little bit of a slump in the middle, but it tends to end quite strong. And the Japanese are just so excited to skate for their home audience, which is just obviously, but it's really endearing to watch because they put on quite a show. So it's going to be really good. I'm excited.
I think it's also going to be interesting how Minerva and Nikita handle the jet lag between Finland and Japan.
It's also
in the mix too, right?
Julia and Matthias as well are doing back-to-back, so it'd be interesting if they can hold on to a bronze or if it's going to go to Allison and Sol.
Yeah, so someone was making a funny joke because last year Euros were in Finland and the Finnish team was on the podium, and this year it's in Lithuania. So it's like, will the Lithuanians be on the podium? But I think there's also like the Georgians keep posting like these really big scores.
They do.
Diana and Gleb. So that's kind of, could they also be in the mix for a Euro medal? I don't know.
Just going to get to Euros, and there's going to be 2 Georgian teams, one in dance and one in pairs, that just suddenly make the podium out of nowhere.
I am saying that Georgia's going to be on the Olympic team podium. Like, I was thinking about this today. Call it unpopular. Nastya, Nika, the pair team, and the dancers. Yeah. Someone said Georgians in brackets. That's hilarious.
Georgians.
That's absolutely hilarious. I'm glad that you got that joke because it's 100% true. We're all Georgian. But regardless, they, I think, are going to be on the podium. No?
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
It's definitely heading that way. Yeah.
I think they were aiming for that World Team Trophy, and then kind of Morrissey kind of had a down year, and
but Nika really stepped it up this season.
Yeah, definitely.
Also Hungarians,
yeah. There's a lot. Soon there's going to be the Kazakhs too, right?
Oh
also Russian and Samodelkina also competing.
Yeah, she has given Russian citizenship, I think, for that though.
Sorry,
she has given up her Russian citizenship because they don't.
So she just, I think, has to wait a bit of time, but like she's been performing in some shows and doing some like exceptional things. So it'll be interesting to see like another like top skater in the women's mix.
Also, a slight point.
Kubanova is struggling this season.
Yeah, it's sad with Nastya.
Yeah, especially being the European champion.
I know. I think that there's like a couple things that I would revisit with her skating. First of all, the second triple combination in the free skate has a very, very low competitive success rate. And it's just math. If she did a triple flip, double axel, double toe, it's higher value. It's higher value.
Yeah.
So I just would love to see her make that switch because it would not affect very much of her life. And I really think, because then we can really like push like really clean skates, because now like I can trust a clean opening, and then I go into the second half and I'm like, this is really ballsy to go for this. And it's a small switch, and I think like she could do it, and also Isabeau. I'm trying to suggest that Isabeau does, because she keeps missing the let down, to do a triple let double axel double toe there.
Mhm.
Because I mean, the system's in front of you. It's like how you can play it. It's a game. You don't get a
Yeah.
reward for being like, you did the harder version.
Yeah, because obviously Brady is obviously missing the rest of the season now, but her first couple of events, I don't think she had a single triple, but she maximized all
Everything
of her jump
she could
content.
do, yeah.
Yeah, to be the best it could possibly be and get the highest GOEs, and she was
I think
winning.
someone put something about Nastya about judging. I don't want to say something negative because she's a great girl and very kind, but she did say an interesting comment last season, and I wonder how the judges are responding to it, or if they saw it, where she said that she may represent the Georgian flag, but she is Russian through and through.
Yeah,
and I just found that was incredibly distasteful and rude. So maybe like that has something to do, because it's, and she was like, she said something specifically about like at the Olympic Games in the team event that she was glad she could beat the Americans so that the Russians could go ahead, because she felt that she was always a member of the Russian team. And I was just like, there's a time and a place, sweetie, and this is not that time or place. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. And then
it wouldn't be surprising if that affected.
This one made me laugh. Sorry.
I love that comment so much. So good.
That's cute.
Oh no. I walked around once.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with that is I don't think Georgia does have a like training facilities as an ice rink.
Yeah, they only just got a rink a couple of years ago.
But that being said, Elena Gidivashvili was 100% Georgian.
Yeah. I mean, Nico is as well, trains in
Yeah.
Russia, but
yeah.
Yeah, like little things, like her not knowing the anthem of her national anthem. Like, it's just like she needs to be a little bit more politically correct. She needs a publicist. That's what she needs. Because listen, I have nothing but great things to say about her skating, and I think I really like appreciate what she's doing, and I completely understand. She saw the opening, she saw the opportunities, and she's going to take it. But you just need to play a little bit more politically correct, because it is a judge sport, and I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something to like keep in the back of your mind with the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Or something that I'll be keeping in the back of my mind.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, so I think we've kept you for an hour and 50 minutes.
No worries, don't worry.
It's now insane how easy it is to just talk forever about skating.
I know, I'm such a fan, if you can't tell. I hope I didn't say anything like too wrong or anything. I tend to be a bit too opinionated. People tell me to shut up all the time. So if I said something wrong, I'm sorry.
That's what you're here for, though, and we really appreciated your time. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you guys.
Just want to shout out this one because this is true. Maria and Georgi.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think they've even said that they want to like help grow skating in Georgia in the future once they've like retired and stuff. So
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and so many people as well loving your honest opinions.
Oh, I just hope I didn't say anything wrong. I don't know. I really love all the skaters. Like, we all have such a great bond, and a lot of people don't realize that. Like, when the minute you leave like the camera at these competitions, like it's just like a big family. Everyone's on top of each other, hugging and like it's quite cute. Like, everyone is very close knit, and we all like take it. Like, we can all take it very well. Nobody is very butthurt. But it's really cute. It's a small world, and I don't know. It's endearing.
More people saying thank you. People want you back already.
Oh gosh.
We'll definitely have you back at some point because this was so much fun.
Whatever you want, I'm always free. But thank you so much for having me, and I'll see you soon.
Yes.
Thank you for your
Bye.
time.
Thank you.
Bye. I'm just gonna cough now. 1 sec. Oh, sorry.
I was very close to saying good luck for this weekend then, but
So, oh, I'm gonna go have a coughing fit. 1 second.
My work call finished a lot faster than I thought it was going to, so
we literally just left like Kaori like
Odyssey. Yeah.
we literally just left Corey like 2 seconds ago.
Okay, so Ellie couldn't make it in the end. She's having a bit of a crisis, I think I can say, with her apartment. So, whoa. She did pick out these fantasy skating names though. Wait, she sent explanations. Let me get them up.
Yeah, wasn't We Are So Back something to do with like implying success, and then you ended up like quite far down the list.
Yeah, so the person who has We Are So Back was about them being last in pairs last time, and it made her laugh. Hopefully they did better this time. Madison chalk dress because of her dresses. Like,
yes,
that one's pretty self-explanatory. And then patiently waiting for Lala to win everything ever. She said this one is for you guys. So
we are big Lala fans.
Yeah. I also forgot to mention earlier, thank you all for watching. I think we've hit our highest continuous viewership. So please subscribe if you haven't already. We very much appreciate it.
We are 60 away from 1,000.
Please subscribe. We'll move on to Grand Prix of Espoo. These are the top scores for men. And I won't pause for too long on them because we're almost at 2 hours.
Likely tomorrow, as far as I'm aware. Usually tomorrow on the website.
Yep. At some point,
pretty sure
these
the
are...
only one I can't remember which one I won. There's only one category I won this week, and I didn't win any others.
I somehow won men. I don't know anymore.
Oh, I did win women. There we go. I thought I'd won women.
I continue to do poorly at fantasy every week. I think I'm getting worse each week. I don't know.
It happens. There's always next year.
Watch every skater on the entirety of the Grand Prix and do as badly at fantasy skating as I do, but somehow.
Sometimes it's a case of you know too much, because Ellie used to play. She doesn't play this year. I don't think she played much last year either. But she doesn't really watch, and she just picks people, and she just somehow wins. So it's just a case of sometimes we're too close to the picture to be able to predict it.
Yeah.
You sort of overthink, and you're like, well, I know these people didn't do that well last week, and then this week they win.
I'm still mad that I changed my vote off Shader off last week. I'm still mad about that.
Oh my gosh, no one's alone. Laura, the way this was my original selection and I changed it, I think that was about the men.
Yeah, it's the worst.
And Amy, I might deliberately play to lose next year. I might do better.
I mean, it's both weeks I think I've picked Conchi Machi to win, and they haven't won either. So.
I did get I was going to say I did get that right. I had I had Huckett and I had Hasse and Volodin to win. So that was my
nice
one risky choice that did work out.
I love Zani Mafia winning ice dance. so on point. These are the top winners of this week's
Grand Prix. Don't think Ellie had time to calculate the complete score because she's left it blank.
Yeah. So maybe these are this week's, right? Yeah. So maybe you won. We'll find out tomorrow. A Flut's a Face in a Dream, I know from last week.
Great name.
Mm-hmm.
Rise Wuggaber. Hopefully it comes true for you this week.
So this is Fantasy Skating Overall Men. So women.
Delusion Spin's still up there. Great name. Oh my god, I'm on that list. At the bottom.
Grimsav Future World Champions. Great.
We manifest, and also good time to announce that we have Michael Savitsky as our guest next week.
Yeah. Hopefully Ellie will be here.
Commiserating German.
Ice Dance Overall. Stationary lift base in Ice Dance, very on point.
Iconic name.
Mm-hmm.
And skating overall, don't even know. Winning is peak fantasy skating. Yeah, I think that's the end of the slide.
Should we address Nolan's question there? Or just skip past it?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't ask about it. I think that's what we can say.
It's not in this video.
Yeah.
Corey will be saying some things on his own time later.
When he is able to.
Yes.
That is all we can say.
But he physically did not say anything. So
yes. So you did not miss anything on this episode. Yes.
Yeah. If we didn't bring it up, it's because there was a reason we didn't bring it up. So yeah, if you've seen the things, you've seen the things, and then all
if you haven't, clear. It's fine.
Yeah. All will become clear in time.
And on the record, he did not say anything here, so you didn't miss anything. Like he physically did not say anything. I want to get that point really across. James, Barbara Stopwatch, winning dance, we're back. Well done. But yeah, I think that brings this week to a close.
As we approach the 2-hour mark.
Also,
longer and longer.
I want to say to people that they should sign up for, not only subscribe here, but they should sign up for our Patreon, because then you could come chat about all of the Grand Prix live on our Discord, and it's fun. And I'm never watching live, so I'm always just reading it later and wishing I was watching live and talking to people as it was happening. So join our Patreon and our Discord.
Yeah, we never actually promo that here, but we do have a Patreon. It is somewhere on our YouTube or alternatively on our Twitter bio, I think. You can join. Our lowest tier is $1/euro/pound. And you can join our Discord, and we live talk through competitions. Next week or this week, we have Izumi at NHK Trophy, so we're hoping to bring a lot more content for there as well. And if you do subscribe with our senior tier, you get exclusive audios and full interviews and stuff. So if you are able to and would like to, there are some other options for fellow figure skating fans.
Help subsidize us going to competitions and doing exciting things in the future.
Yes. We're currently in the negatives on that. So, hopefully Melissa, I will fix this as soon as we end stream, and it might take a minute or two to refresh, but I will paste the links in this description bio when we're done.
They're usually in every other video we upload. Maybe not the live streams, but they are in all the going into detail videos and stuff like that.
Maybe I can paste it in as a comment. I think I can do that. I don't know if links work, but we'll see. But yeah.
Thank you
for
2 hours.
joining us.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're not waiting until we hit the exact 2-hour mark, are we?
No, I think 1:59. We'll leave it there. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next week an hour earlier.
Yes, we are an hour earlier next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.